quick introduction. Nanosatellites, what it is, it's a category of satellites with a mass which is between 150 kilograms. And you can see where the nanosatellite is compared to other types of. So in this satellite industry, there are a lot of suppliers that provide you every subsystem you need. Here you have some examples of what you can do with them, what kind of missions we can address. And as I told you before, you have a big variety. So very quick introduction of what is U-Space, so the company I created. We mainly do satellites building, so nanosatellites building, so we conceive them and we build them and we test them. We also have tools on ground because we do the whole system. We of course we build the satellite, but to build the satellite and then to operate the satellite, you need some infrastructure on ground and some tools on ground.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting.
Thank you. Thanks.
I don't know if you are all familiar with the unmanned activities or the drones. I will do a tandem, a duo presentation with Patrice Rosier. Tadej, could you tell us how many minutes we have since we are two? I don't know if we get a discount to have extra time, or do we have to maintain the 40 minutes time frame for us? Within aerospace, I just wanted to show you about the meaning of unmanned system or drones. First, we are in Aerospace Valley. We are interested mainly on air unmanned systems, but you have to also take into account that there is also unmanned capabilities on the land and the sea. And it's a general thought that most of those systems will be more and more integrated. We already see some interconnection between the land milieu and the air milieu on some military and non-military applications. So don't see them as a silos. It's really tangled solution, and it could also be a part of the future. But the today's talk will be addressing the air milieu. First of all, I would like to mention the small ABCs. As you have seen in a day-to-day life, when we talk about unmanned aviation, or especially on drones, you have so many names, and I just listed some of them. So there is not a single definition, but more important is to remember it's an unmanned aircraft. It can be remotely piloted or autonomous. Autonomous is not a reality for the moment. There is autonomous function, but they are not fully autonomous. And a big also important is something recoverable and or expandable or recoverable. This is the best way also to separate, differentiate an unmanned system from a missile, for example. Even if it's a 100-year-old solution, there have been some enablers since the earlier of the century, the last century, about technology convergence. So first of all, thanks to space drones with the widespread of the GNSS, any GPS and other systems, the drone have been able to grow and to become a reality and not only a demonstration. In the following slides, some facts to avoid some bias or misunderstanding. So first of all, as I mentioned to you, a drone is an aircraft without a pilot on board. So it means that you can use the taxonomy of an aircraft. So if you see the breakdown structure, it's a traditional breakdown structure of aircraft. Fact number two, just as a gentle reminder, a drone is not just a platform, as many people see, it's a systems. I don't say that, is the French Chief of Staff of the French Air Force, General Mercier, who was saying that, and I just wanted to highlight here the complexity of the platform. Usually the platform reflects a very limited part of the value, but you have to take account that a drone is a system composed of an air segment, where you have an air vehicle composed of propulsion, avionics, and carried mission payloads. You receive and transmit information, the flight information and mission information through a data link. And then this data link goes to the ground segment, where you have a remote pilot station with crew and people taking care of the launch, recovery, collect of the information. Fact number three, an unmanned aircraft doesn't mean there is no human on the loop. I like to show on the left-hand side, on the left on the slide, some presentation done by Dr. Stark. So his copyright, but he has highlighted how to operate a drone. And as you see, of course, it can be only one operator for small drones with very small footprint. But if you take larger platform, you need more boots on the ground because you have to take care of the logistics, the maintenance. It's like an aircraft. I will go quickly for the facts number 4. So it's also mentioning to you that the drone is a very cost-effective solution. You have some comparison of flight hours, small comparison with helicopters. You have also a testimonial. It's in French, but this is typically the kind of platform could be finding its place, its positioning compared to an aircraft or an helicopter. And on the other side, the acquisition of a satellite, and I don't talk about nano satellite, but for large satellite, put the drone in a good position. I just wanted to use the COVID-19 just to mention to you that there is not a single day where the drone have been part of a situation. If you have been suffering from the COVID in your respective countries, you may have seen that it has been a precious ally during the pandemic on different functions, broadcasting, disaffection, detection, monitoring, and crowd of guidance, like in China.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Arnaud. So this is Patrice from Reflet du Monde. I will try to share my presentation. So we are a drone company located in France. So we have 4 specialties with pilot training, with aerial shooting, so using our drones to perform some missions. We also sell drones, and we have a research and development activity. And so we design drones and we design tailor-made drones. So in 2017, we performed in France the first seed dropping, let's say like this, over crops in France. So the idea was to deliver simple seeds. So it's kind of a green fertilizer directly over maize crops, and this led to develop a 25 kilograms drone, which is called now the RDM AG. And so we have this important project in our research and development activities. This drone is a long-range drone dedicated to a civilian market, and the idea is to take on board a SATCOM system, so communication by satellite. There are still many applications to invent, literally invent in the drone market. There are really plenty of things to do with drones. It's really the beginning of something new, I think.
Thank you very much. Very interesting presentation.
You're welcome.
I'm head of the balloon projects at CNES, and I'm pleased to present to you a general view of our CNES balloon activities. And then André, my deputy, will talk about the different kinds of payload on balloons. So another synoptical view of our balloon program. First, it's to remind that it's know-how we have at CNES. We have had at CNES for more than 50 years, and we have performed some 5,000 stratospheric flights at all latitudes, and we maintain this capability at CNES with an agreement, like a contract between the French government and CNES. We can use smaller pressurized balloon to fly to study the troposphere and the between the ground up to 3 kilometers in altitude, or some kilograms, like 1 kilogram or 2 of payload. And also we use sounding balloons to reach the stratosphere and to make measurements of, for example, of atmospheric profile. Just some words about the European infrastructure called EMERA. We have this grant from the European Union to offer and to pay for balloon flights for innovative payload that could be selected from different countries in Europe. That's it for me. Thanks for your attention. You can also visit our website where you can have some details about our programs and also the EMERA initiative.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I will present you quickly some payload gondola we are flying with CNES stratospheric balloons. Okay, so I will start by the smallest balloons. This is a sounding balloon, which is a weather balloon for meteorological sounding. The material is latex, and the balloon will increase its volume during the ascent until its explosions. So on this slide, we have an example of three scientific gondola developed for sounding balloons. The first one is the name is Air Core. Air Core is in fact it is a drilling of the atmosphere. There is a long tube of stainless steel packed into the polystyrene donuts, and during the ascent, these tubes empties its air. And after, during the descent itself, and fill itself during the descent. In this case, it's possible, because we have a lot of mass, it's possible to offer some services on board, more than the telemetry and the remote control and the position. We have also real-time telemetry remote control with higher bandwidth, power distribution up to 1 kilowatt. We have some sensor, like a daytime stellar sensor. Also, we have nighttime sensor, and we have the capability to control the position of the instrument into the gondola. We go back to the zero pressure balloons. Those balloons are smaller, up to 13 meters of diameter. So the mass of the science is also less. Typically, there was during the last campaign with EdFlight for the validation of the different scientific gondola. There was the Zephyr 1, TTL1 Zephyr gondola. The mass was about 22 kilograms. The flight level was about 19 kilometers. And there was three instruments for the measurement of scientific atmosphere, the measurement of ozone, water vapor, and also aerosol counter LOAC, the same, which flying with sounding balloons. Thank you. Any question?
Thank you very much for the presentation.
Our first intention is to have a bigger payload, and to André told us it was about 1 ton. Actually, that they practice. Now we try to go further and to improve it to 2.5 tons. Just with one goal is to have passengers with us in our flight. We intend to go at 25 kilometers altitude. So when you rise above 20 kilometers, you can have a view on the curvature of the Earth. And at 25 kilometers, you enjoy the darkness of space. So basically, you can see stars and sun together. Our upper balloon is very close to a standard balloon it is about 150,000 cubic meters of volume. And in between the nacelle that we can see on the bottom of the picture, we have the altitude regulator, a new second balloon we developed, and in which there is compressed air, and that enables us to go up and down just with solar energy. You can see solar panels on it. Another advantage of this technology is the integration with air traffic control, because if you want to go at 25 kilometers altitude, you have to cross, of course, areas where there are planes. This is 5,000 meters balloon, cubic meters balloon, and in this one will perform test flight at up to 12 kilometers high. This is another, and hopefully in the 3 weeks we'll make a first uninhabited flight, so with 3 pilots on board up to 8 kilometers with this platform. Thank you very much for attention, and do not hesitate if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. Very fascinating to see what's going in the future.